Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. We're taking a quick look here again at ICP, seeing what's going on. Have we truly found our bottom yet, or are we going to continue lower? That's really the question, honestly. It's a very, very ugly situation. Lost that support range at about $10 to $11 and been just free falling ever since. So this is really not an ideal condition. You got to recognize too, ICP has a history of just plummeting for no good reason and also for long periods of time. So I'm not really surprised by this now that we've broken that support level. But again, it's hard to want to short something like this that does have propensity to, you know, recover quickly too. So again, it hasn't shown that much recently, but in the past, of course, has. So let's double check a few things, kind of see where we're at. We want to look at large time frame levels here for ICP because honestly, the volume here from more recently, if I'm not mistaken, should have been fully swept for lower liquidation levels. Majority of it. Okay, so there are some new longs here about 750, upwards about 835. So there's still some liquidation levels to the downside here, but at this point, it's one of those things where we just got to be very, very careful with taking a long position. But the truth is, majority of the liquidation, the heavy concentration at 890 is gone. But let's look. I'm more concerned with larger time frames here, because look at this here. The last month's worth of liquidation, everything's been swept. So all those heavy levels we talked about previously, at roughly about $10 even, as low as about 930, those are all gone. We do want to look out here. Let's go ahead and see what the 3 months kind of tells us here. There should be, yep, see all that's been swept as well. And then just out of curiosity, let's go to the last 6 months and just see if there's anything further left. Not too much left, honestly. I would say between $8 and $7 would be a range of support. And what I mean by support is just that we have small amounts of liquidation below the price action on larger time frames, but the larger time frame you go, the less likely those levels are to be swept, just because of the fact that that those are super long. Like these are longs from back in December. Okay, so they've probably secured profits by now. It's probably just some random ones left open. So either way you look at it, that's kind of where we're at here for the moment. ICP is not in terrible shape, but it's certainly, if it can get worse, it will get worse, right? We got to kind of go with that mindset right now. And if we do take a look at larger time frames, let's quickly draw this out here because we look back in, again, December when the price pivoted before it continued further higher. We saw a decent amount of support right here at about $8.80. So we're going to pull that out. We're going to pay attention to that level and just make sure that we understand that that is going to be an area of potential support. So we're actually hitting that level right now, coincidentally. So we're just going to go ahead and draw this out here, keep that kind of steady and consistent, and see what that does for us later. Okay, so again, larger time frame support levels are important. That's basically the last support level we have before the price goes down to the low $6 range. Okay, so again, not necessarily an idea to consider buying this dip here because of that, but if we show some stability here at this range and we don't break much further down here in the relative near future, there's a solid chance we could see a recovery, but again, a lot of it hinges on Bitcoin too. Anyways, let's take a quick look at the weekly. I'm doing this with all coins here today just to kind of get perspective on what's going on. We can see that we have a pretty significant divergence here. We're under 50 on the RSI, stochastic and MACD both swinging down. There's literally nothing here giving us a consolation except for the 50 and the 100-day SMA. So let's talk about that really quick. 100-day SMA, we've been above that for a long time. That's not really an area of issue. That's 750 or lower. There is a little bit of liquidation down there. But for the most part, we got this 50-day SMA. This is the most important level. So generally speaking, the 50-day SMA on the weekly or daily is really a positive thing. Okay, we want to make sure that we hold true to that. That level is very positive. Okay, so the truth here is that $8.72 as a rough estimate from previous weekly closures, as well as the larger time frame trend line here, there's a pretty decent chance this could be the bottom. It's like our last line of defense. So if the price does end up responding well to this area, then we know that this is the tentative bottom. But again, there's no real reason on slightly smaller time frames to verify that this is the price is just going to turn around and we're good to go. Right? So keep in mind, with the most recent time frame, we have a strong amount of volume at $12.15. That's the point of control. So recognize that if the price does end up coming back to that range, we will have difficulty getting through that. That was a previous support level. It's now pretty safe to say that's somewhat of a resistance level. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and mark that red for the moment. Taking a look at the daily, we can see here that we are still testing that 30 level. Money flow index kind of averaging itself out, and stochastic is swinging up for the second time here. This does carry a little bit more weight than the first, telling us that we're fairly well bottomed out. We can also see the MACD is starting to plateau, which is good, right? So we're starting to hit a bottom here. While this is not great, this is still a slight consolation. Again, we're below all moving averages on the daily. There's no reason to be like super excited about this. However, we could very well see a short-term turnaround here, and in that sense, we do see some of the moving averages working their way down. If we get over that 20-day SMA and break above this descending trend line, there's a possibility we'll see the price action recover. Again, I like to say possibility, not probability at this point, because anything could happen, but the truth is it's not pretty. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, same thing here. Stochastic swinging down. We're getting close to 30. Generally, you see a bounce off of 30 in the RSI. If we do look at its history here, again, see if there's been any bounces. We got RSI hitting 30 right here. Slight relief rally. We saw the price hitting 30 on the RSI. Price pulled back. Okay? Slight relief rally here. So again, it's not 100% guarantee you're going to see a bounce, but for the simple way to understand it, when it comes to RSI at 30, that's usually a place in which the price will bottom out for a short while. We can see MACD also diverging here. If we do end up diverging fully, we could see the price continue to run to the downside. And at this point here, it's not looking very fantastic. There's no other way around it. 4-hour time frame looks abysmal. Hourly time frame, this is where we can kind of see the shifts in momentum if applicable. And we can recognize here, keep this in mind too, if we do look at TD sequential, we've hit a 9 plus 6. So we've literally, or that's a 5. We've seen 15 hours or 14 hours of progression to the downside without retracement, okay, or without consolidation, anything of that sort. So at this point here, we are likely to see a slight relief rally. What will probably happen is it'll likely come up here to this most recent point of control and reject out and continue to establish lower lows. Again, pending this isn't the bottom. But again, we need more time to develop this support level. You don't just take a long position because it's a previous daily candlestick closure back in December. While this line here is probably going to provide some support value for us, there's no reason to utilize that this early on. So again, if the price can kind of hang out in this range here, just say for example, this is what you want to look for. If the price just continues to hold this level here for 2 or 3 days and Bitcoin continues to go lower, that's a case in point where ICP would be a good investment. We've likely found our bottom because it's no longer progressing lower with Bitcoin. It's found its tentative bottom. That's what we're going to be looking for here. So we look at everything else. We're below the cloud, lagging spans free and clear of the price action, conversion lines below baseline. There is 0 reasons to consider a long position with this coin right now. You're literally gambling if you do that, okay? So again, I'm glad that we triggered our stop loss in ICP because we've mitigated a lot of loss by closing our trade a lot earlier than it is right now, okay? That's why stop losses, folks, you have to recognize they are definitely your friend. You need to make sure to utilize them. Heaven forbid you hit a 30, 40% stop loss. Way better than getting liquidated, okay? I can assure you of that. So please be careful adding to your margin and using cross margin. I would definitely recommend isolated trades and making sure that you are having a stop loss at a place that feels comfortable for you. Okay, my stop loss is set much different than what the average person might feel is okay. But again, I have a higher success rate generally for my trades, unless I go all in on an FOMC meeting, which didn't work out so well. Those are all things that happen, folks. It's the way it goes. Trading is like that. It got ebbs and flows. You're going to be able to bounce back from this either way, no matter what position you're in, as long as you can kind of steel yourself and focus and get back on track. So those are my 2 cents. I hope that makes sense here. I'm going to go ahead and post this playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, Discord. In case you're not familiar, they do look a little something like this. We've also got Twitter and, sorry, no, this is not Twitter. This is TikTok and YouTube Shorts too. I'm trying to provide those daily as well. Even though I've been traveling this weekend, haven't done too much there. It's generally something I'm able to do generally every single day. So I appreciate the positive feedback from everybody. And if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site. Link down below. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.